Hey guys, and welcome to season 4 of the Us People podcast. I'm your host, Savia Rocks, and in this season, we get to remember and reminisce back in time with some of our guests like...
Hey, we are Entity,
and you're listening to
the Us People podcast
with Savia Rocks.
Peace, my name is Oni. I'm a producer-engineer from Queens, New York.
Hi, my name is James Green. I'm a TV presenter, sports reporter and journalist.
Hi, this is Joy Langley and I'm the author of Navigating Stress.
Hey, this is Travis Glossop. I am a creative radio producer for Kiss FM and you're listening to the Us People podcast with Savia Rocks.
We highlight the strengths of our cultures, talking about diversity and inclusion and speaking out loud and proud about who we are.
I was never that good. I was determined. I had a love for the sport and that always fueled me.
At 49, I was seven years post-divorce after 22 years and 3 kids of a marriage. And so I knew that I needed to figure out what was happening for me and why was this such a severe sort of crack in my identity and how I showed up in the world.
It's great. I'm glad because I'll be honest, I didn't really work that hard at uni, so it was good to leave uni and really get on it, really because I also, as a person, I think I value productivity. A lot of people live to work. I think I am one of the work to live guys, but because my work is amazing, that's all right with me. So as a person, I go to bed happy when I've had a productive day.
We've also saved the best till last by honouring another artist and showcasing their talent as our new theme song with none other than your host, Savia Rocks, featuring in their song. So guys, enjoy, stay creative, and as always, please continue to be kind to one another. Let's go.
Hi guys, I'm Jenny Light, yoga elder, author and meditation teacher on Insight Timer, and it's been my pleasure to be on Us People podcast with Savia Rocks.
Peace of mind, gotta keep my energy and peace of mind. I protect my energy and peace of mind, gotta keep my energy and peace of mind.
Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of the Us People podcast. I'm your host, Savia Rocks, and today I am so humbled. We have been through so much. I have the lovely Jenny Light here with me. Jenny is the author of Awakening the Lotus of Peace. She's a yoga elder and also a meditation teacher on the Insight Timer app. Jenny, I want to thank you so much for taking your time to come on the Us People podcast. How are you?
I'm absolutely grand today. It's been a really busy day, but everything just goes all lovely and calm when I'm speaking to you. It's lovely.
Aww. Do you know what?
You've got such a calming voice.
If my voice was only as calm as my day I wished it was, then it would be so nice. It would be so nice, Jenny. Do you know what? Guys, I'm going to tell you a little insight to what me and Jenny have been through just to get here today, okay? So we have been, Jenny's laughing, and I love it because the energy is beautiful. Me and Jenny have been through the impossible of trying to sort out the software that we're on today, to rearranging times. But both of us have been so patient. And sometimes I believe that's the energy in the air, but also the energy within us that makes us want to do this today. So I'm so grateful to have you, Jenny, and thank you so much for all your patience, even before I even ask you the first question.
Yeah, but don't you think sometimes that things are just not meant to go ahead on the specific time that you have allotted sometimes?
Oh, totally.
The energies are just not right. There's the flow isn't there. But I mean, we came across so many closed doors that was obvious that it wasn't the last time. But today everything's in a flow. We're both all calm and, busy days, but still calm.
I actually really like it. It feels good today, Jenny. I don't know if you can feel what it feels. It feels like today is meant to be the day. And that feels so nice. So, Jenny, I'm going to jump into my first question, which I've been longing to ask you. So, Jenny, I would love to know, could you tell us, everyone listening today, tell us about your background and where you grew up and how that influenced you to be the person who you are today?
That's a big question, isn't it?
It is.
How do you condense a lifetime? How do you condense, 60 years down into a few sentences? But I think the overall thread throughout my life has been yoga.
Yeah.
From having expanded states of awareness when I was 5 and 6, to finding yoga. This was back in the 70s, the early 70s, when my mother she was going to a yoga class, and then yoga became the love of my life. And I had my own daily practice, a religious daily practice from the age of 14.
Whoa.
And teaching myself to meditate at the age of 14. So I would say that yoga and the path of yoga, this isn't just the physical exercises, but actually the whole, the premise behind yoga, which is that pathway back into oneness, into the divine, whichever label you would like to give to that oneness, that one spirit, God, or whichever you like. But that has been my overall drive throughout my life, although I have done lots of things. But that has been the bedrock, the undercurrent that swept me along through everything.
I love that. See, you know what the blessing is knowing what you want to do from a young age.
Yeah.
Sometimes people take a lifetime to find out, and that lifetime can be 40 years or 50 years. And it doesn't matter what time, because people seem to think there's a time preference on what you want to do. I don't always believe that's the truth, because say, for example, if you want to be a writer or whatever it might be, you can do that at any time in your life. I know there are certain things like maybe football where you might have a certain lifespan, but I always believe that if you are lucky enough to find it young, then you've been abundantly blessed, you know, so that's
it's only
mine.
retrospectively you realise that, though, because at the time you're caught up in the stream of your life.
That's true.
You know, it takes a sense of having a bit of distance from it to see that there was this very strong thread of pattern throughout it. I knew when I was 5 that I wanted to be a teacher. So, I mean, I went into education when I was in my late 20s.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, I knew when I was 5 that I wanted to be a teacher. So, I mean, I think everything that I've thought about I would do, I have done, you know.
That's good. That's good for you to even say that.
I think it's good to get things ticked off your desire list.
Yeah, I definitely have a list. I definitely have a list. So I would love for you to be able to define yourself as a person, but also, can you tell us who you see when you look in the mirror? But on the flip side of that question, Jenny, has there ever been a time where you have looked in the mirror and not recognized the person staring back at you?
Yes, absolutely.
How did you manage to come back or even become peaceful within yourself to be the person that you want to be and come back to who you want to be?
Well, to kind of answer the end of the question first, I think we've all got the shadow side, the ego side. Right?
Yes, I agree.
And that ego side comes out as anger, aggression, pride, pushing forward to achieve roughshod over anybody else, unkind words, all these sort of things. Yeah, there's times when I've looked in the mirror after an outburst and I've seen that side of myself staring back. It's like, oh, that's not me.
Yeah.
That's not me. But I did go through a period of, when I was 48, when I was 48, I got chronic fatigue syndrome.
Oh, wow.
I got complete burnout in education. And I remember the morning that it came to a head. I was exactly like that, looking in the mirror at myself, my hands on my face. And I looked back at this, I was looking at this grey face in the mirror, and I couldn't recognise myself. I couldn't process what order to dress myself, you know, what order the clothes come on. I couldn't process what came next in the routine of getting yourself out the door to work. It was really bad. And when I got there, people were speaking to me. I could see their mouths move. I could hear noise, language, but I couldn't process any of it. it didn't make any sense. And they sent me home. Now, retrospectively, I shouldn't have been driving. But,
What?
but anyway, the thing is, that was me. Those are notable times are when I have some aspect of the ego that has come up.
Yeah.
Or the time when I got chronic fatigue syndrome and I didn't recognise the person that was staring out of the mirror. All of the light was gone in my eyes. It just felt like my eyes were dull and lifeless. Now, when I coined the name Jenny Light, because Jenny's my birth name, but when I coined the name Light, it's because that's how I see myself as this great conductor of light. Yeah. And at that time, my life force was diminished to a tiny little peep. But anyway, I got myself better by deciding to get better, taking raw food and a supplement that an omega-3. I wrote a book about it. My first book was my recovery.
Yeah, see, and that's one of the most beautiful things is that when you recognize, because a lot of people are still in denial about looking in the mirror. And I think that's one of the hardest questions that I ask everyone when they come on the show is to realize at that point when they didn't feel like or know who they was, you know, and it's hard to be able to do that. But when you do that and you feel it and you know who you are, it's like a transition.
Yes.
That's how I see it. It's like a beautiful transition within yourself. So thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah, I think though that underneath the mask, I could look at the mask, that's the exterior on the outside. I could look at the face and not recognise me in that face. But underneath that, I still knew I was me. And, you know, who I am transcends this shell of a body.
Yes, that's true.
It was the weirdest thing that the exterior didn't reflect what the interior was, but I still knew I was me. And I knew that I would get out of whatever challenge had been presented to me, because that's how I view it. Life presents you with challenges, not to
sure does,
to hobble or to knock you down, but actually to make you stronger. And you come back stronger. You know, you just have to find the route, the pathway through the particular challenge.
That's true.
Because it's there to help you to grow and to help you to realise who you really are. Not the situation that you find yourself in, not the shell of the body, but who you really are.
That is really true. You've got me thinking about it now, and that is absolutely true. So let's break down a day in Jenny's life. So she's laughing, but these are things that I love to know, and I know I always like to ask my guests these questions because the listener always wants to know too. And I would love to know what a day is like in Jenny Light's life from when you wake up in the...
You get really good questions, you know.
I'm on your number 3. I love this. So, what is a day like?
Right, I start with aloe vera juice. So I take Forever Living aloe vera juice, and it's very cleansing for the gut. And then it's hot water with lemon juice.
I know that one.
And then I don't have anything for a few hours. That's just really, really cleansing. I don't know, my body likes it. And lemon juice and water tastes sweet to me. It doesn't taste sour. You know, I really like it. And then it's the whole ablutions, cleansing, and then I'm getting into a meditation. So the main practice that I won't break is meditation every morning. So I allow myself to have a period of 2 hours, because sometimes it's only an hour, sometimes it is 2 hours. But then I start the day, so whenever that might be. The only issue for me is there's still a residual of the chronic fatigue that it hits. This is me being bluntly honest. It hits that first half hour in the morning.
Yeah.
So I get up, I have, my drinks and things like that. But then the room starts to spin round and I have to lie flat. And then it's so unwound, the chronic fatigue now, that if I give in to lying flat again, it's only 5 minutes. And then I'm up and able to go on with my day. So the chronic fatigue, that spinning around, that vertigo feeling, and kind of dizzy thinking. That only lasts for that 5-minute period now, where it used to last for 5 hours.
Wow.
So, yeah, and then I'm into a meditation, and meditation to me is it's a yoga meditation practice given by Paramahansa Yogananda. So through the Self-Realization Fellowship, and it's his teachings that I follow. So I do the practice, and then I sit for a long time just soaking in the presence of the divine. Then I can get on with my day after all of that. There's always healing prayers that are sent out at the end to whoever has asked for it, whoever needs it, and generally into the world. And then I have breakfast, which is usually about 11:30.
Wow.
And then whatever the day brings. So sometimes it's emails, sometimes it's promotions. Sometimes I'm also an artist, so I decide. Some days I've got set things that I need to do, and other times I intuit whether I've to sit and do Facebook promotions or whatever, which is, it's a wee bit tedious, or whether I just want to get myself absorbed in painting. And then sometimes I've got clients that come for healing sessions. I do sound healing. At the moment, I'm not teaching any yoga classes. I took a sabbatical from teaching yoga this year, although I have had a couple of meditation classes that I do. I used to run like 2 meditation classes a week and 1 physical class.
Yeah.
But I've taken a break from that. So at the moment, my day until 3:00 is whatever I choose to do with it and whatever appointments I've got. Then at 3:00, the grandchildren come in from school. So I'm quite near to the school, so they just come in to me. It's really, really, really nice. They're 17, 13 and 7.
See, that's what I wish I could just walk to my granny's house.
It's lovely being granny. It really is.
Oh, yeah. I know, because when my grandmas were around, I would love to go to their house, literally be able to walk. I didn't even mind if it was a long walk. It was just the sheer fact that I knew I was going to grandma's house.
It is nice.
And it's the best feeling ever.
It is the best. So the evenings could be a varied thing of doing podcast interviews, spending time with my mother, or spending time, again, probably on a Zoom call with one of my students. So it's very varied. Does that give a flavour of my day?
Hey, I'm happy with the flavour. That was it felt quite purple to me. I liked it. Purple's a good colour. It's in a good space. So.
And it always finishes with another short meditation before sleep.
I like that. So then you're peaceful. I like that. That works well. So after now we know a little bit more about you, Jenny. I would love to know about your book. So I've had the privilege of reading your book, but I would love for you to tell the listeners a bit more about your book and the reason behind it. But also there are a lot of lessons that you can learn from your book. It's not one of those books that you pick up, you read and you put down. And I always find the books that you are able to pick up whenever you need them, rather than a book you just read through once and you put down and you might not see for a good 10 years. With your book, it's like you can keep on going back and forth whenever you need it. But I would love to know the reason why you wrote the book, just for anybody who hasn't had a chance to read it. And also the emotional connection that you feel when you was writing the book, because I always feel that's really important.
Excellent questions yet again. Yeah, Awakening the Lotus of Peace was inspired by a poem by my guru Paramahansa Yogananda, in which he talks about the different states of peace and the different ways that peace can be experienced, like peace as the softest breeze, or peace as a fragrance that comes up during meditation. There's a fragrance like incense that comes up and you become enveloped in it. But it's coming out of your own heart. It's coming from within. Or peace as rays, so you can be experienced as like the cosmic rays coming through as rays of peace. So I've done 15 different chapters, and each one is on a different experience of peace. This is a workbook. It has yoga, breaths, and some introspection, personal growth stuff. We can't get away from that. And each one has several little meditations and one longer one. And the idea is that you can actually experience peace as these different tangible perceptions and not just as a concept. Can I just say, first of all, that peace is not the absence of something, right? So the negative idea would be that the opposite of peace is war, but that's a very negative and limiting concept. But peace has a power and a presence, and is very perceptible as this experience that comes, that envelops you, and actually comes from within. So the well of peace resides within the heart. I mean, not the physical heart. I mean, the heart space in the spine behind the physical heart, the heart chakra. There's a hidden chamber in the heart chakra that is waiting to be opened by every single one of us at some point in our spiritual development. And it's trust that lets you open that, plus devotion.
Yes.
Plus devotion to the divine. And this was a culmination. Awakening the Lotus of Peace is the culmination of a 1.5 years work with my advanced yoga meditation group. So they would, what I do is I record it, the teaching session and the meditation session, and they go away and they practice it, and then they come back and they see how they go on, and then we work on the next aspect. So one chapter might have been 2 sessions work. So there's quite a lot. It's quite chunky. There's quite a lot in it.
I like it.
And Awakening the Lotus of Peace was illustrated throughout by my daughter. So she's a classroom assistant. She's very self-effacing. She never sings her own praises or anything, but she's also really arty, and she's hand-drawn all of these mandalas very intricately. Anyway, so I've got her to thank, and I've also got to thank Suze McCallum, who's a talented graphic designer, because she's designed the beautiful front cover with the lotus flower on it. It's just really, really pleasing. But I'm getting nice feedback from people about how they're experiencing Awakening the Lotus of Peace. And hopefully it's something that you liked as well, Savia.
I more than liked it, my dear. And my book has so much pencil marks on it with goodness that with goodness that I was like, okay, I'm going to carry that with me. I'm going to use that. If I, obviously, as a writer too, when you value, I call it a piece of art. I call everyone's book a piece of art. That's how I see it. That's my perception of it. And the reason why I see every book as a piece of art, because it is art just with words. It's art with words. So then what I do to enhance it is I have my notes with their notes, and then it enhances it even more, because now I have a better understanding of the book in your way, in how you wrote, but also in my way of understanding it. And I got that with yours when, like, I wrote about 86 questions, guys, for Jenny. Jenny doesn't know this, but now she does. But when I was writing down, you speak about your spiritual experiences when you was a child. You speak about peace, but one of the things that I love talking about with a lot of people who write books, not similar to yours, but in a different style, is forgiveness. I believe forgiveness and peace play a tremendous part together in order for somebody to heal, in order for somebody to learn what trust is again. So my question for you is, what does forgiveness mean to you, and how has forgiveness helped you in your life to see the light of who you are?
Tremendous question yet again. I'd love to know what the other, 85 were or whatever, but anyway, forgiveness. I think forgiveness is a way of letting other people go right? So
I agree.
if you are holding on to any resentment whatsoever, guilt or blame or anger, or any strong emotional response to anybody, you are then karmically linked to them. And I believe that if you don't resolve it, then you're back in a future life. That ties you together through incarnations. So forgiveness is the way of letting others go to live their life, but also in the same process you free yourself.
Yeah.
So it's no longer holding on to any resentments, and the most difficult ones are family.
Oh,
Because family, you're tied to them by connection, by blood, by heritage, and they're the people that are there to teach you the strongest lessons that you need to learn, and that's where forgiveness is a tough cookie, because your connection to them is right there under the skin, in the blood. You're connected to them. And I think for anybody out there who has had a tough time with either their siblings or their parents, is to forgive them, to see them as a human being that is in the process of learning who they are. So therefore, underneath all that, they're perfect, but they themselves don't know that yet. They're still playing through a flawed lens, if you like.
True.
And that you can forgive them because at their stage of development, this is all they know at that time. So see them as a toddler, as a child that is stumbling along and learning and making errors, making mistakes. And it's the easiest way of forgiving a really tough thing is to see the other person as doing the best they can.
That's true.
So for me,
That is
forgiveness is about letting the other person go, and at the same in one time freeing yourself to hold on to no resentments, no attachments. And then you can find that peace within, because you're not harbouring any ill feeling whatsoever. If there's ill feeling, it's not their fault, it's your fault. The responsibility on your ill feeling comes from you.
That's true.
You're responsible for your own ill feeling. If you didn't have it, they could still continue to act in ways that were not healing or helpful. But if you're not attached to them, then it doesn't hurt you anymore.
That is true. That is definitely true. I know that one because I always say that you give consent to what upsets you or what hurts you.
Yes.
And I know sometimes it's very easy to say, but when somebody says, and usually it's words that hurt us the most, when somebody says something to you, you take it in, you take it on board, you emotionally become attached to what that person has said to you. And then that's where you either become very bitter or you forgive them, just like what you've said. So that's amazing that you've said that. And I hope a lot of people take that with them, because that's something that we all need to learn and understand.
Can I just share a little technique on dealing with really
I would love for you
difficult
to.
people? Yeah. My ex-husband was a very angry man. And he was quite difficult at times. But what I found was that when I imagine myself in a bubble of light, so that when all the anger was coming towards me, it would just veer off round about this bubble and I would remain untouched. It was the most peaceful space inside this pod of light. And it was like being in the eye of the storm, and the storm would just go past me. I wouldn't feel it at all. So learning to place yourself in a bubble of light. And what I used to do was visualize that I was drawing a line in light, like white light, down the left, under the feet, quite a bit under the feet, because your bubble of light, your aura extends, below into the ground and above the head. So beneath the feet, up the left-hand side, and then it would come down over the front, under the feet, up and up the back to meet above the crown of the head. And then, so that you're making like a cross of light, and then just blanket the whole area beyond that with white light, or make it silver, because silver's very protective. And you
Yes.
even line it with an exterior bubble beyond that of gold light. So you might have a white bubble, a silver bubble, and a gold bubble. That's really strong protection.
I'm going to have to do that from now on.
If you know you've
I'm
got a
definitely-
difficult situation coming up.
I think there's always a situation that challenges us as beings where we're going to need that protection.
Yeah, but there's a solution. And the solution isn't always something external that's going to happen. The solution is
true.
how you respond and how you grow, within. And to me, it was just all of a sudden I broke out into this. All I was beaming out to him, he was sending me anger, and all I was beaming out to him was love. And I just felt this great flow of light coming from my heart area and a great swathe. And all I was doing was just standing quietly while he's ranting and raving and just sending him love. So what I'm trying to say is that came kind of spontaneously, and it made me realise that there's a solution to everything and that you are not bound by the other person's behaviour on what you do, on how you react or act.
I believe that is really true. I think I've carried that with me a lot in life. Sometimes it does become very challenging because people can be extremely aggressive towards you, and sometimes they want a reaction from you. I don't know if you've ever had that, Jenny, where somebody, like you say, your ex-husband can be very aggressive towards you, but then there are people in the world for some reason, and this sounds bizarre to say, but it's actually the truth. Some people like the drama of wanting a reaction to come from the other person, and when you don't give it to them, it winds them up even more, and they still try to.
I did experience that. Yeah, my husband wasn't aggressive with anything other than his words and his energies, but he was fuming mad because I wasn't reacting.
Exactly. See.
But he stopped, because if you don't add any fuel to the fire, then he's just causing a stooshy for nothing.
I like the fact that you put it like that.
He stopped fairly quickly, actually.
But that's the thing. That's a good thing.
It wasn't being fueled. I wasn't doing anything. I was giving him out love, but I wasn't feeling... I just felt this overwhelming love for him and sympathy, compassion.
I like that. That works a lot for me. In everything that you've written in your book, what would you say, Jenny, has been the most inspiring part of your book? Because I believe in every songwriter, there is a part in our book that we're like, I didn't even realize I could write like that. Is there a part in your book where you feel, wow, I didn't expect that to come out the way it did, where it enhances who you are, you evolve from it, and it inspires you to say, wow, if I can do this, imagine what else I can do?
Well, I have to explain the way with which I write. Some of the material was taken from the actual teaching sessions, and when I was teaching meditation, I'm very much channeling the flow of consciousness that comes through, and it's the same way when I write. When thereby later I'm writing the chapter that's those training sessions. I'd start with my fingers poised above the keys, and then the words start to flow. They flow in through the right side of my head, and then I'm just typing what I hear. So what bit's the most surprising? The most surprising bit to me is the fact that it was so good. I didn't really have, there was no slog involved. I just needed to put the physical hours in.
That's true.
But can I share how the book arrived?
Of course.
All of my books have arrived out of the ether. Like the first two books, it was the moment between waking and sleeping, where the book was sort of arrived in the ether in front of me, and I could see it in 3D or 4D or whatever, and I could move it around and see it and turn the pages, and I knew what the title was to be and everything. And all I had to do, it was a complete book. All I had to do was put in the hours to make it a physical thing.
I love that.
But for this book, for Awakening the Lotus of Peace, my husband was driving. That's my present husband, who's a lovely, peaceful, quiet man.
Aww.
Yeah, he's a big healing soul. But he was driving back from visiting my daughter, the one that did all the drawings. She's away in the wilds of Argyll, and all of a sudden this great light enveloped me, the whole of me, and the concept for Awakening Lotus of Peace appeared not in the ether in front of me, but actually in me. I was downloaded the book, if that makes any sense, and the peacefulness of that lasted for days. And I knew then that the only thing I had to do was to put in the hours to type the book. There's no slog involved. That's what's most surprising.
See, that's like a blessing down from an angel. Say, here you go. This is for you. Do with it as you please, but do it in a positive way.
It was for other people. This book was for other people because the world so sorely needs peace. And I don't mean the absence of war. I mean that the only way to have peace in the world is for us all to have that peace awakened within our own heart, because it's in there anyway, underneath all the debris and all the angst and restlessness and all this other stuff. Underneath all that, there is this inherent peace that we can all tap into, which is our true state of being. We just need to peel away the layers.
What is I can't say the one thing, because there's many things in your book that people can take away and also come back and refer to. But if anybody is about to buy your book, read your book, what would you at least like them to acknowledge about your book?
That meditation is the way in which to tap into that peace within, and that taking the time to meditate, to go within, and I would encourage people to meditate, because that's the way of attuning to that great peace within and to the great spirit that you really are.
If you were to say to me that, I love asking this question, if you were to choose one song that was the soundtrack of your life, what song would you choose, and why would you choose that particular song? The reason why I ask is I just want to see what your answer would be and how I would implement that song into your book.
I don't listen to much conventional music because I don't like to have the quiet space within my psyche filled with, how you play the song in your mind afterwards. I don't play much conventional music anymore. But what came into my head was, it's actually the prayer by St. Francis of Assisi.
Oh, wow.
And it's let me be a channel of your peace.
I know that song.
Wherever there is something, let me bring love. But I really love that song. If that would be the soundtrack to my life, it would be changing the gross into the subtle, changing ignorance into wisdom, changing restlessness into peace. So I'd really like that to be, that can go on my what's that word here? Funeral, your funeral song.
We're thinking of funerals now, Jenny.
Well, I mean, it's going to happen at some point. This body will be shed.
Yeah, I suppose so.
It's nothing to be scared about. You just pass into the astral world where there are no pains, no strife, for a little while until you have to incarnate again if you haven't mastered everything first time. This time.
Jenny, one thing I've learned, I've been here so many times, so I said I said to my partner, this is my last time, and they went, no, it's not. I said, oh yes, it is. So we're on that balance of finding out whether or not it's my last time or not, because sometimes I believe you're sent here to help.
Yes.
And sometimes it may not be your choice, but you are sent to help because you have a gift, and that gift needs nurturing, but you are sent because of how brilliant you use your gift to help other people. And I feel that's what is the most beautiful thing that you can do in the world, is help other people.
Absolutely.
So, Jenny, I only have 2 more for you because time has flown. So, it's gone so fast. And I was like, huh? So, my second to last question is, and this is a little bit about what we just spoke about in a way. When you decide, and only when you decide, that you have done enough in the world, And I know you're already at peace. I know that because I feel it. But what would you like your legacy to be, and how would you like people to remember you when and only when you decide to not give up, because that's not a word in my vocabulary, to stop and say, I'm done?
Stop and say, what was the last word?
Stop and say, I'm done.
Oh, I'm
so
done.
you're saying, you know what? I'm happy.
Well,
I'm happy and I'm good.
I don't know. As long as I'm here, I'm still working, am I not? As long as I'm here,
like
there's
that.
still some gross element to be faced within, to be purified. Because when I'm
That's
absolutely purified, then I have a choice to stay or to disappear into ethers. But at the moment, I'm still working through stuff.
I like that.
So what would I like on my legacy? People can choose whatever they wish, but I would like to have that some of my energies have been beneficial to people. Because I believe that you affect everybody, within a few miles radius, that you affect everybody by how you are. So, I'm not talking about people that I necessarily know, but just people in the neighbourhood. I'd just like to hope that my energies, what I'm giving out, has been beneficial. But in the end, it's really just whatever the divine wants to flow through. I'm not bothered about what people think.
Do you know what? I was saying that to somebody just today. And a lot of people in the world, especially if you were to work in the corporate world, for example, a lot of people for some reason care so much about what people think of them. And I'm like, nope. And it makes me see that it's not that I don't fit in. It just makes me see that my self-worth is completely different to how they feel their self-worth is compared to my self-worth. And that's a really beautiful feeling to have, knowing that you know your self-worth. Even in a relationship or a friendship, you know your self-worth. And that will take you so much further in life knowing that. But yeah, Jenny, my last one for you. My last one, because I can talk to you all day. It feels so nice and peaceful. I've had the abundant joy and humbleness of interviewing you today. But I would love for everybody else to find your book, to find you on social media, to have a conversation with you if they would like to interview you too, or just know who Jenny Light is. Where can they find you?
Well, they can see my book, first of all. Awakening the Lotus of Peace is on Amazon. It's an ebook or a physical book. You can catch me at my website, living-lightly.co.uk. I'm on Facebook as Jenny Light.
Yep.
But also I've got my business page on Facebook, which is Living Lightly Yoga. And I'm on Instagram as Jenny Light without an I, so it's Jenny LGHT.
Ah.
Yeah, I've had that Instagram account for a long time, but I couldn't get one with an I. Isn't that interesting? I've got an account that doesn't have an I. It doesn't have an ego. It doesn't have an I.
I like it. Yeah, I like it. That's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, I'm also on LinkedIn as Jenny Light.
Yes. Jenny, I want to thank you so much for taking your time to come on the Ask People podcast, for showing your light, your energy, your humbleness and calmness of who you are as a person. I've enjoyed it so much. I didn't even realize how quickly the time went past. So, no, it's been a beautiful
pleasure.
Conversation.
You've got a lovely, lovely, calm energy. You've got such a lovely, healing, calm voice. You're obviously doing what's the best thing for you. Your career, this is what you should be doing.
Oh, it's beautiful to be able to hear other people's stories. And I think it's even more, I don't even know which word to use right now, but it's humbling to share people's stories with the world and let them know that you're not alone in the world. Everybody goes through something. You can all break through and be who you want to be. Patience is key, and love always wins. And I always have these sayings, and I take them through life, and I hope that I give them to people as well, so they take a piece of it when they're on their journey to work or as they're listening to this and wherever they might be going. So Jenny, I appreciate you saying that, because it means an abundance to me to be able to do this with every single person who takes their time and patience, because time is a beautiful thing also, to be able to share that with people. So Jenny, thank you so much again.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Guys, thank you. Guys, thank you so much for listening to the Us People podcast. And please remember, you can subscribe and leave us a review on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, and any other platform that you prefer listening to. Please also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And you can also donate to the Us People podcast by simply going to the Savia Rocks website or just typing in paypal.me/Us People podcast. Guys, thank you so much for listening. Stay happy, stay positive, and as always, please continue to be kind to one another.
Peace of mind, peace of mind. Gotta keep my energy and peace of mind. I protect my energy and peace of mind. Gotta keep my energy and peace of mind. Peace of mind, peace of mind. Gotta keep my energy and peace of mind. I protect my energy and peace of mind. Gotta keep my energy and peace of mind. Peace of mind, peace of mind. Gotta keep my energy and peace of mind. I protect my energy and peace of mind. Gotta keep my energy and peace of mind. Peace of mind, peace of mind.
People say that having a peace of mind is trying to find a consistency of calmness within ourselves, to crave for a clarity that drives us through our emotional journey of life, to never let a person's judgment manifest into a fear inside of us, learning to believe in our ability to shine through the darkest moments and tunnels when we cannot see the light. Patience being our light for forgiveness and strength, to believe in our destiny. If you want real peace of mind, one needs to stop fighting their inner thoughts and embrace them with love, because love is the most amazing and beautiful strength that we have to conquer our peace of mind. Make your thoughts impact a nation by keeping them true and honest, especially to yourself. But make your peace of mind protect you when you don't have strength to embrace anything else. Find your peace of mind by listening to your heart.
I always do as much research as I can before I go and interview someone, because I want to get more into the depth of who they are, but also let them just be free. You know, I know how nervous it can be being on the other side and you might not know the person, but for me it's about just letting you be your authentic self. So thank you so much. It's true. It's so true.
I don't really bother much with nerves.
Actually, yeah, that's quite true.
I just am me.
Which is all that you can be. which is all that you can be.
No, it's an absolute pleasure. Thanks very much, Savia.
Peace of mind, peace of mind.